Hello, movie lovers. Welcome home. My name is Amy Henserling, and you're listening to Watch This List. Today is a very special episode of Psychoanalyze This with Frank Ritz, who chose this movie. I did not, and I am glad that you did, Frank, because it really demanded reassessment, and I was wrong.
Good. I'm glad you feel that way.
Isn't that really the best way to start a conversation?
I think it is. I think I literally don't think there's a better way.
There really isn't a better. You were right. I was wrong. Might be like the best conversation starter of all time.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right, so we're done here?
Yeah, so we're done.
Okay, perfect.
So for context, Frank and I and our buddy Tyler Harris did a end of the year episode in 2024?
Yeah, 24. And
Frank and Tyler had Red Rooms in their best of the year awards. We did like an Oscar awards stuff, and you guys had it over and over and over again, and I just had to sit there because I didn't understand the film when I first saw it, and now I just regret that I had no participation in that because I would have definitely given her best performance too.
Yeah, I think actually at the time I think I gave her second place, and now I definitely would have revise that and put her first for sure.
Yeah.
It's just pretty incredible in this movie.
Yeah.
She is the movie in a way.
Yeah, and it's a character study of sorts too, as much as it's like a indictment of our culture and other things. It really is like very Fincher-esque, very like the killer, one person.
Yeah. I think it almost exclusively functions like a character study, honestly. And I get why, like, on first viewing it can't fully because of the way it unravels itself. It is a movie that slowly gives you information and makes sure that, and is constantly making you go like, okay, but what and why? At every turn as you learn more and more about these characters and the scenario of the film. So I think like it makes you lean in like it's a mystery, like it very intentionally. But like at the end of the day, it isn't one. There isn't a mystery to solve other than like what is going on inside this character's head. Like that is what the mystery is. And I think it's very interesting how the movie like is meta reflective in that way, where like in the movie all these characters are focused and leaning into this trial and want to know more and project onto them and like are so enraptured with it, but then like we as the audience are doing that with her, not necessarily anything else.
Yeah, and one thing you just brought to my mind was that when I was watching it, I thought a lot of Anatomy of a Fall.
Yeah.
But the difference there is, like you said, with this movie, what's done is done. Nobody can be saved. With Anatomy of a Fall, she could die or like be arrested. Right. Like there's a major difference between a movie where what happens is very significant for the future, and then where this is like the damage has absolutely already been done, and she can't be saved. The last girl, Camille, can't be saved. So that's a very interesting dynamic because you're not waiting for like a big, I don't know, catharsis of any kind.
Right. Or a sudden revelation that will change everything. Like, yeah. You can't change. Which actually, I think that's what drew me. Funny enough, I didn't think of the Anatomy of a Fall comparison, but you're so right. And I think that's what drew me into that movie. I was surprised at how much I was still like, well, what's going on in this lady's head is like at the end of the day the fundamental question. But you're right, there is an added layer of stakes and courtroom drama, like in a traditional sense, where like Red Rooms has these really long, elaborate, engrossing courtroom scenes, but like again, it's just about trying to figure out why we're reacting to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Anatomy of a Fall has the same sort of impenetrability about the knowingness of the character. I think it ends and we still don't know
Yeah.
You don't know if she did it or not, or what she was even thinking,
feeling. Yeah.
Or like maybe she doesn't even know. Like I know she knows what she did, but maybe not why or how she felt.
Agreed. And I mean, hey, they would make a great pairing, honestly.
Yeah.
And I like that movie too. I think is definitely more. It feels like it's like examining relationships falling apart and how we don't know how to deal with that when it's happening in real time. Like that movie has other more directly emotional things going on too, with the son and his grieving. And it's definitely a more emotional movie, which I think is very interesting about Red Rooms, is how it is so clinically detached. Like it is not an emotional movie. It actually removes like emotional comment from like every moment, therefore like forcing us to have to project something onto what's happening. Like the movie never once tells you like, this is definitely how you should be feeling about what's going on.
The only counter I would say to that is that I do think that Kellyanne and Clementine are representative of like two sides of a coin, but they're opposites. Like Clementine actually infuses quite a lot of emotion. I think like she is the one who has feelings and expresses passion and gets angry and is really, really invested. And I think that kind of balances out, because if she hadn't been in it at all, I think it would have been a very different movie.
I think that's fair, but I also still think the movie doesn't tell you how to feel about Clementine, because like,
right. But she has feeling where Kellyanne
she does have feeling.
Yeah.
Well, Kellyanne has feelings.
You know what I mean? Emotive. Like she's very, very intense. Clementine is almost childlike in her intensity.
I think they both are kind of very childlike. I wrote that down at some point. Kellyanne's like curtness and like little moments of like her flicking her food like away out of the avocados out of her salad. Like there's all these little moments where I'm like, she feels very childish. Like, I don't like this. I don't like this. I like this. I do this. I'm very like
black
what
and
I
white.
want, what I think, black and white. Yeah. There's some Arrested Development feelings a little bit.
Well, now that you're saying that, honestly, like like Genevieve or Guinevere, I think it's Guinevere. The AI on the wall is kind of like her imaginary friend. So even that is kind of like a toddler.
Yeah.
Toddler
100%
esque.
An imaginary friend she had to design and make herself to, and it's like the only thing she clearly has contact with.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Until she reluctantly takes Clem in like a stray dog. This is a movie. I do just want to say right away, if you haven't watched this, you should go watch it
and not listen to anything that we're about to say, because we're going to spoil the shit out of it.
The joy of the movie is like the journey of unraveling what's going to happen next, because it flows very atypical to most movies, and there's no way to talk about this without spoiling every single thing about it.
No, there isn't.
So please go.
I
think it's interesting. I don't know if this is the time to bring it up, but something I noticed is that she knows, Kellyanne knows Guinevere, how Guinevere will respond to should I kill myself, but doesn't know that she tells jokes.
Right.
Like that, I think, is a very telling thing into Kellyanne's psyche of like, this is an isolated person sitting alone all day, not interacting with humans. And there is this like specter of, well, there's obviously a specter of death on her mind, whether it's for her own self or others.
Okay, now I'm going to start off with like a big question that I have. Okay, and I don't know, I'm not really looking for answers to these things. It's more just like, what do you think? So it's not like in the vein of like, what do you think the movie is saying? I want to know what you think about what I'm going to say. Okay. So at the beginning, I noticed there's like this court scene in this really cool kind of futuristic Black Mirror looking courtroom. And when they're talking about the victims, there's like the camera goes into Kellyanne's face and there's a single tear that goes down. And I don't know why, but I immediately felt like, oh, she was abused as a child. Like my brain was like, that when she's identifying with like Camille at the end and sitting on the bed and putting on the, like, there's something there that's not just like this girl is like obsessed with a killer or like interested in like this media circus. I feel like there's some trauma, I hate to say, but like something there that's personal. And I felt that that was conveyed in the tear, but I don't know if anybody else did or would.
I mean, I am sorry that any question like that you're going to have, I'm going to have like 3 responses to, because
I
joy.
expect it.
I'm sorry. Like, I genuinely, because I don't know.
Right,
And,
right.
like,
I know we don't know.
That's what keeps me coming back to this movie and why I've seen it 6 times. In that moment, I wrote down, it's like 3 possible things, right? Like, is she crying for Camille? And this is her one moment of open grief that she like then hardens for the rest of the movie. So she has this tear that she is shedding for the victims. Is she crying because he won't look at her and she just like wants him to look at her? Is she crying because she knows what's about to happen? Like all the things she's about to do over the next weeks and is like building towards. And this is just like a moment of like, it's finally happening. And I've been waiting a year to be sitting in this room, and now I'm overjoyed to tears. Genuinely, I think all 3 of those like make, and what you said, I think makes sense too, especially once Clementine is introduced, because she very overtly gives, I have something that is hurting me from the past, and this is how I'm manifesting it outward. Like that is how Clementine comes across inherently. So like, is Kellyanne the same thing? Is there a wound, an original wound that she is trying to heal via this insane method? Like, I don't know how I personally feel the strongest of all those, because I think all 4 versions like hold weight all the way through, and her unknowability is the like is the draw. And I wish I could say one pulls me more than the other, but like something will always happen to be like, well, then why'd you do that? Well, then what's that about?
Okay, but there is a line where she meets Clementine in the street, and Clementine says like, "Oh my gosh, you're so pretty," which, oh my gosh, she's so pretty. But she's like, "Oh my gosh, you're so pretty." And then she said, "If you had blonde hair and you were a little younger, you'd be the killer's type." And I was like, okay, I feel like there's certain things that support this idea that she is trying to heal herself through this process because of something that happened. But there is like the major flip side, which is like that she wants attention from this guy. And that one is harder for me to, I don't know.
I think we have to talk about some of the larger ideas even beyond Kellyanne, maybe, to help figure out what these layers are, because like it's definitely about like how desensitized we are to violence and pain on a like daily basis, like mostly due to the accessibility of everything on the internet. Like, and I guess other forms of media. It doesn't just have to be the internet, but like you can't go online without seeing some tragic footage of like people literally dying on a daily basis. And like that psychically over time is going to start affecting how we relate to concepts of violence that aren't happening directly towards us. Right. So this like, coupled with also because we see everything all the time and we're all related to each other through screens and phones and whatever else, like this projection, this feeling that we can understand a situation and we can have an opinion on it and we can know the truth. And like, I know this person did that and that's what happened. And somebody else can say the opposite. And like, we can both be wrong. And it won't matter. We'll move on with our day because that's just another second in our flow of time. I know this is like a random rant I'm on, but just to say like this desensitization and this feeling is what I think leads Kellyanne to this, like, I just want to know. I need to know. I think is it as simple as the first, when she comes out of the courtroom and the reporter is like, why are you here? And she just goes, I'm curious.
Yeah.
Is it as simple as that? Is she literally just curious? It can't be.
No.
But because of some of her actions, but it's like, it doesn't feel like it's just attention seeking. It feels like this true embodiment of, I need to know. I want to know the truth, not just what I think, not just what I assume, like the literal, I've seen the footage. I've felt what these people must have felt. I know what happened and why. I think that is the driving force of Kellyanne at the end of the day.
Do you think it's also that she does it as a game, though? Like the whole poker thing and her being like, I love bleeding people dry and ripping people off. The satisfaction that she gets. Could it also be kind of sadistic in that way where it's like she doesn't even care about the victims? She's just trying to take down the killer because that's what he deserves type of thing. Like, and she gets pleasure from being the enactor of justice in like a vigilante sort of way.
But I don't think so. Okay. I really don't. I don't think the end goal for her is vigilante justice.
Okay.
I do. Well,
even though she gives the recording to the mother and is like, I mean, obviously the end would suggest that she cares about exposing and coming to some kind of.
But why would she give it to the mother to do that? She would just give it to the police if it was just about justice. Giving it to the mother is a taunt in and of itself, because this is something I noticed on this watch, is that Kellyanne is a very literal person.
Yeah,
everything somebody says to her, she takes it very literally. And I think the mom saying like, I can't sleep at night, and then Kellyanne being like, you went to sleep, is like, fuck you, you're a liar. Like, you aren't as upset about your daughter dying as you think you are. Or her mom saying, I can't rest until I know what happened. Kellyanne sits there and goes, okay, then I'm going to show you what happened. Like, you said it, I'm going to do it. And same thing with Clem, when she's like, I need to know for myself. I need to know what happens. Kellyanne's like, okay, and makes her watch both videos. And I think the key of that is that she makes her watch the second one, because Clem obviously watches the first one, has the come to Jesus moment of like, oh,
it's him.
He is the murderer.
Yeah.
I have, my whole worldview is shook. I just saw the most disturbing thing in the world. She says, hold on 1 second. And Kellyanne like doesn't give her that grace and immediately plays the second one. Because I think it's like no, you said you wanted to know. It has this like blunt curtness at every turn. I think there's a couple more moments like that where I think just Kellyanne is like, if you said it, I'm going to do it, because she has this like robotic way of existing and processing the world. I think that's more where like the poker, bleeding them dry thing comes into play, because it's like that is the game. Like, if you want to play good poker, like that's how you got to play. You should leave your emotions out of it if you want to play like good competitive poker.
You're kind of blowing my mind here with this, because I really thought the last scene was like that. See, but I'm reading it in the way of like that she was some kind of like abuse survivor. So I was thinking she gave the video to her mom because she would have wanted her own to have like proof of what had happened to her or something like that. But that could totally be me projecting onto.
Which I don't think is inaccurate. I still think that makes sense. Like, no,
but I think yours makes way more sense that because she was asleep.
Yeah, because it does that cue when she's standing out the window, and then the light turns off and it goes like boom.
Yeah.
It's like, because like that's the shattering moment to Kellyanne, and I think not everything, but a lot of what she does, it seems like she wants to inhabit the skin and like truly feel what it felt like when because if she isn't interested in the Chevalier at all, why does she go to the school and like watch the schoolgirls walking by? Like, she is definitely trying to feel what he's feeling too. It's not just trying to inhabit Camille, and it's not just trying to not placate, but assist the mother or Justice. Like, there's these moments too where she's like, no, I want to know what he felt too, I think.
Okay, do you think there's any through line here? I know, like, I always bring up Exotica when I'm talking about any of these elements, but like the whole thing of like ritual, and like almost like play acting is there to like role playing, like routine a bit. She's extremely type A. She's also got this. So if we take like your whole thing of like the projection in the screens and looking at things, observer culture, and then you add on the fact that she's a model, and like is her job is to be looked at. So I just feel like there's so many interesting layers of like ritual and then also like presentation. Like her whole life is just presentation.
I definitely think that is extremely relevant, and it's her way of interacting with the world. So like, excuse me, her dressing up as Camille is like how she would know to inhabit her feeling. Like, it's not enough to just sit there and go look at her picture and be like, the horror and pain she must have felt. Like, it's I have to be in her skin, and I need him to look at me like he must have looked at her.
Like Buffalo
Bill. Like, that's how it's
the skin, like putting it on literally and being like, I now inhabit this person.
Yeah. And too, like, she's clearly meaning to upset the mother as well.
Okay.
Like, again, you wouldn't do that if you're just trying to be a helpful vigilante person.
Okay.
Brandon said the first time he watched it, he was like, oh, she's like Batman. And then the second time he watched it, he said, oh, she's the Joker. I get it now. And she is definitely more in that chaotic, like, neutral, I guess, I
was going to say neutral. Like,
yeah. I don't think she's evil, but I definitely don't think she's good. And I think it's a complicated line to toe, because if it was just about the vigilante justice, there's a million things she just simply would not have done. Because it's far more about her. I don't want to repeat myself too much, but the knowing, like that feeling when it's not enough. Like, I guess that's a part of the desensitization concepts, right? Like, we can feel like our lives are lesser because we're not experiencing the same things we're seeing others do. And like, at some point you need to feel, and like, that is what can cause people to do extreme actions, like in any way. Like, it doesn't have to be violent, it doesn't have to be in this field. Like, take it on a more mundane version, and this still exists. Like, you can feel dissatisfied with your life and do something extreme because you want to feel a jolt to something. Even like, I'm gonna cut and dye my hair out of the blue today just because I felt like it. I needed something different. Like, that's obviously a healthy, normal thing to do, but it's still like I need a jolt of feeling something different.
Okay, so this goes directly. Have you seen Strange Days?
No, it's one. I love Catherine Bigelow too.
Oh my
so
gosh,
it's huge blind spot.
Okay, I don't even know what to say to you. Me seeing that before you, and you love Bigelow, Frank.
Know.
Okay, well, anyway, I'm not gonna spoil anything about it, but like the whole point is like putting on what do they call it? There's a word for it, but they put it on and then they're able to go through people's, do you know what the basic
memories, right?
But it's like they get addicted, obviously, to the experiences, and then they have to keep amping up what they're watching to get the original hit, right?
Feeling back.
So like, you could start off watching like a very healthy situation, or just like a kind of like somebody skateboarding or something, and then you can feel what it feels like if you were skateboarding, but then all of a sudden you want to feel what it'd be like to rob a bank, and then you want to feel what it'd feel like to murder someone, and it gets like the black market where they're like selling these snuff films basically that will transmit the neurological part and the dopamine and everything to where but then it's like, okay, this is always true, where it's like the descent of the desensitization descent, where it's like, now I need something stronger. Now I need something stronger. But that means usually more evil or more harmful.
Yeah. I mean, Kellyanne is literally sabotaging her entire life to do this extreme end of this journey. Because, like, she didn't just stumble here. Like, that's the thing. Like, she's already got a ton of Bitcoin. She's already playing the, like, Tor network poker. She's already knows how to, like, go get leaked information and like hack into the lady's house with much ease. She's on DuckDuckGo.
Yeah.
She's not going on Google. She's not on Google Chrome. Like she's watched these 2 murder videos a bunch of times. Like, I don't believe this is the first time Kellyanne decided to do something like this. I mean, to the extreme it gets to at the end, yes, this is the first time. But like, she's clearly a person who's been on the internet looking into all this stuff. Well, I think that's where I think, and I know the movie doesn't necessarily say that, but that's where I feel more conclusive, is like, this is a person who's like has a deep fascination into murder videos and deep dark web stuff, and is like lived in this headspace for a while, so that now that there's this like huge public trial that is dipping into a world she already knows, it like sparks the next level of like obsession. I can really get in there. I can really, I'm obsessed. Yeah. I'm gonna be the one to know the truth. It's going to be me, and nobody else will ever have the whole picture, but I will. And it's like,
and that's very, I have to say, like, just from a like cinematic standpoint, or even like, I don't know, you and I's personality standpoint, like, I think we both love, like, All the President's Men is what I just thought of. Characters who are like so diligent and gung-ho and competent. Moneyball's another one, even though he's not doing anything evil, but it's a similar thing where it's like Moneyball is a character study of Billy Beane and his obsession with trying to get to this state of relief, that I think she's also, they want this feeling that they're, and they have to be very, very intense to even be on the path to get it. And it might look as though there's this greater good thing going on, but really, and same with like Woodward and Bernstein, like they are on a mission to like expose, but there's also something within them that needs something.
It didn't have to be Nixon and Watergate. It could have been anything.
Exactly.
They aren't driven because they said this is a specific wrongdoing I must fix. Yeah. It's just the one that happened upon them at the right time.
Exactly.
Yeah. I 100% agree with you there. I mean, we should talk about what name you've placed and why that's so relevant. And her self. I think it's fascinating that she self imagines as the Lady of Shalott. Shalott. Lady of Shalott. Because like, I wasn't too familiar with this tale, and I'm sure I've looked it up every time I've watched the movie or whatever to remind myself. But like, the gist is she's cursed to only see the world through a mirror, and she has and like she can never look at the world itself. And she has to sit and make, what is it? She's like on a loom all day.
Okay. This is where, all right. I didn't know when I was going to do this, but I'm going to, if you're okay with me infusing my surprise to you now, because this is where we come up. All right. So our friend Tyler.
Did he do an analysis?
I asked him to give me something to read while on the air without telling you first. And then that it was like basically his 2 cents as if he was here. Now, it's not short, but...
Of course not. Why would it be short?
But I'm going to read it, okay?
Okay.
And then, and so sit back and relax, drink your coffee. It's probably cooler now. It's about 2 paragraphs, but this, of course, Tyler would do the Lady of Shalott. Okay. And like,
I think it's extremely important.
Yes, and that is what I put as my host name in this chat that nobody will be able to see. All right, so here we go. A word from our sponsor. Hi, Amy and Frank. I hear you're recording on Red Rooms without me, which is cruel but fair. I wish I was there to mediate between the two of you like a mutually beneficial devil's advocate. But alas, I'll resort instead to writing in and tormenting you both with a couple strange ideas, theories, questions.
Okay.
If I were to point toward the most important thing to discuss about this film, it would be, surprise, surprise, the mythic undertones, specifically Kellyanne's subtle obsessions with Arthurian legend. Mm-hmm. Her screen name and her desktop wallpaper recall the Lady of Shalott. Her AI companion is named Guinevere. In many ways, Kellyanne is the Lady of Shalott. If you don't know the story, in Lord Alfred Tennyson's poem, the lady is confined to a tower and is forbidden to ever look at the outside world from her windows. So she watches life pass through her mirror while weaving a tapestry. After seeing Lancelot ride by in the distance from within her mirror, she becomes entranced by his reverse image. The mirror cracks. She leaves the tower, climbs into a boat, and floats down the river toward Camelot. The curse kills her before she arrives, and Lancelot discovers her corpse.
And doesn't he comment that she's beautiful?
Yeah, I think so. And also, Guinevere is the one who betrayed Arthur and
with Lancelot.
With Lancelot, and then her infidelity was like the end of Camelot. Okay.
Yeah.
When I think of Red Rooms, other than the obvious scene of all scenes, we know what that is, I usually think of all those shots of Kellyanne's high-rise apartment where she lives in total solitude in a tower and observes the world through her mirror, the internet, rather than directly. The curse here isn't the internet itself or the screen or the mirror, but the act of looking. Kellyanne is cursed like all of us millennials and zillennials who grew up in the age of unregulated internet usage, seeing things the human mind really has no business seeing, and becoming desensitized. Tyler didn't even hear this to know this. And numb to the realities of death and sex. Thanatos and Eros, of course, he had to say that. In our topsy-turvy postmodern world, her twisted Lancelot becomes, what's the killer's name?
Chevalier.
Chevalier. And her attempt to enter the world to find him is her descent into her own euphoric, morbid obsession. It not only destroys her life, but interestingly enough, is her own becoming. And it's also even more intriguingly what leads to the evidence that convicts Chevalier, a kind of Ouroboros of the sex and death drives eating one another. Okay, now we have to wrap up. To wrap up, I'd be remiss not to mention Hitchcock. I think Rear Window is the obvious ancestor to Red Rooms as far as voyeurism is concerned, but so is Vertigo and the erotic necrophilic project of loving an image more than a person. That is to say, Kellyanne remaking herself into the dead Camille, which recalls Scotty remaking Judy into Madeline. Mm-hmm. What's really interesting and what I'd like you all to tango with a bit is how Plant, the director, inverts the genders of Scotty and Kellyanne. True crime consumers are overwhelmingly women in our society, and there's a sexual asymmetry in how both men and women consume the spectacles of sex and violence. Men are statistically oriented toward visual cues, like pornography, while women are more oriented toward narrative, reading porn rather than watching it. Okay, if Clementine is the female narrative mode in romantic form, building a romance plot in her mind, where the killer is her novel hero, then Kellyanne is the more complex case, migrating entirely into the male mode. Visual, acquisitive, detached, willing to watch the unwatchable. She earns her money by poker and hacking, endeavors that I feel like usually attract basement-dwelling men, and she watches murder videos easily while Clementine weeps and gets her self-imposed romance turned upside down. So what do you think is going on here? I have my answers, but would rather hear yours. Okay, thanks, bye.
Thanks, Tyler. It was good. I should have known that was the surprise.
I know.
I can't believe I didn't think of that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
I wish I
man.
had like a sound bite of him actually doing it and then
saying it.
Yeah,
but then it would have been 10 years long
I
because
know.
he would have just kept going.
That's why I said there has to be timers involved. Okay, so what about that gripped you?
Oh,
and then we
God.
can go that route.
I mean, so much. I'm now trying to backtrack everything he just said. Well, what grabbed you? Because now I'm trying to.
Well, I think the thing about the mirror and like the descent and the becoming is kind of what we were talking about.
Yeah.
And then obviously those illusions are not by accident. So like her being kind of a modern day, or even maybe the hacker, or like the person who's like savvy is kind of like the modern day Lady of Shalott, where they're kind of trapped in there because they tend to be that kind of personality, right? Like loners and detached from society.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I know we've talked about this. I agree with him on the like unfettered use of the internet too early, seeing things you definitely shouldn't. Something that came to my mind was reminded. Oh, I never remember her name. The news reporter who shot herself, Christine. Yeah, I never remember her last name. When I was like, then this is not something I feel good about, but I will share it because I've thought about it a lot. When I was young, I remember hearing about that and then like going to find it and watching it. I'm talking when I was like 13, 14 and just like, wait, that really happened? And like, it wasn't easy to go find, but like you could watch it. And I watched her shoot herself and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. That's a real thing that happened. And that felt crazy. And I felt shame toward wanting to look at that and that curiosity and being like, I can't believe this is a real thing that we're just talking about. But now that would just like everybody would watch that if that happened today. Like I wouldn't have to go seek that. That would just be on the front page of Reddit or Facebook. People would be talking about it and probably sharing the video and being like, warning, you're about to see something graphic. But like something has shifted where like that is more normalized. But for people, pretty much I'm like me and Tyler are like the last generation where like these taboo things, you had to go a little extra to engage with them, whether you wanted to or not. And I think Kellyanne falls into that desensitized, like psychic shift as well. Because she's got to be around my age, right?
Well, and the other thing you just made me think of is like, I remember this. I don't know if it was last year where there was like a news. It was just the news, and this girl had gotten murdered on a bus. Remember that? And they just showed it like over and over. And like, I think it was like a knife and it was pretty violent. Yeah. And he just like walks off and she's dead. And that happened. This is why I told you the other day that I thought of funny games. Because I do feel there is something in here that is very adjacent, where it's like telling us like, hey, you think that you're comfortable with violence and that you want to see it. But when it's real like that, actually, there's something very internal that's like, I wish I hadn't seen that. And it's not even as violent as any movies I've ever seen. But it's way worse.
Because it's real. So, I mean, and obviously, like him bringing up the true crime obsession that has, I mean, it's been around for a while now. And that is something that has always made me feel weird, like my whole life, even though I just talked about like being, but that made me feel weird even at the time, like being able to look up and see this violent act happen. Like something about our obsession with it makes you have to start questioning, like, what is the underlying thing? Is it that you want to feel better that it didn't happen to you? Is it a prep thing? Like, to know that these things can happen and to be more aware? Is it a comfort for your own pain? Which is like, I think kind of what the first thing you talked about with like, if Kellyanne has this deep wound that of abuse, of hurt, of trauma, whatever it might be, like, are we just trying to heal that through staring at the sun, for lack of a better phrase? Like I will, because like I do that when I'm experiencing grief through losing someone. I'll watch extremely emotionally heavy movies that like force me to cry. I'm a person that is like, I want to address the subject. I want to lean into it. I want to take time to process. And obviously I'm a movie oriented person and I've learned this and I know this. So like, that is the way I do it. Almost everyone around me is like, why? I don't want to be a part of that. I feel the opposite. I want comfort. And I'm like, I want to lean into the skid, fully feel the thing. And then that usually helps me move past it. So I feel like there has to be something in that zone that happens with like true crime obsession. And like Kellyanne is like an extreme, I guess you could call it a logical endpoint of something in the vein of true crime obsession.
Yeah, and
where,
the
like,
fact that she's a woman, and like Tyler was saying, like that women are typically the highest consumers of that.
Yeah.
Is almost like, how do I say this? Like the impact of the movie to me is that it's saying something true, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it is acknowledging that like women are way more intense and interested with like morbid curiosity and fascination than we tend to want to feel comfortable sort of acknowledging.
Well, and that's because usually the violent perpetrators, like 99 times out of 100, are men.
I know,
like,
but we wouldn't even
world.
think that women would be interested in that sort of thing. And the fact that they are is kind of like, oh, well, what's that about? And so that there's a discomfort there, I think.
Yeah, I think it's just, but like at the same time, again, it used to bring me a lot of discomfort. I've come to way more peace with it as the years go on. I used to be like, yeah, it doesn't matter what I used to think. Just
yeah,
that
Frank, we don't care.
I think there's just that, like, it's some version of solidarity, isn't it? Of like, to acknowledge the pain that has happened to others is to mourn with them, to better prepare yourself, to better understand yourself, and be weary of the world around you, because it is happening. And every single day, every single minute, there is some violent act that just happened to a person by a man to a woman that shouldn't have happened. It just like it's perpetual in our societal makeup. And like, there's something that can be connecting when you actually choose to engage with it. Now it gets weird when it's like, but we are talking about real people dying in horrific ways.
Yes.
But
yes,
I guess I don't really have a point that I'm going.
Well, I was going to say, so I'm reading Sharp Objects right now, the book. And it's really, really, really good. Really like surprisingly good writing. I'd never read anything by Gillian Flynn, but the main character in it, whose name is Camille, is like investigating these murders of little girls who get their teeth pulled out, and it's quite graphic. They get like, yeah. And anyway, her demeanor and her personality seems almost sociopathic. But it's because she cares so much. And it's a similar thing. I see that. I don't know if this is like an archetype or this is like all women possess a certain extent of this, where it's like when empathy becomes, I don't want to use the word obsession, but do you know what I mean? Where empathy is starting out as like, I want to find out the truth because I care about what happened to this person, becomes a bit twisted where you're almost like harming yourself because of how you're acting about it. Does that make sense? And so that's this phenomena where it's like you're staring into the abyss, but then at what personal cost, I guess. Is there like going too far?
I see. Yes, I see what you're saying. And for Kellyanne, the answer like has to objectively be yes. Like,
right.
This is a person who goes as far as they can. But I don't know. There's something also. She literally has a moment of transcendence, like when she finally gets to watch Camille's video.
And you feel that.
Like she is complete. She is full. She is everything. And then she has one thing left to do, and it's to go deliver the footage and make sure he goes to jail. Or not even make sure. Well, no, I think that is a part of it. Make sure he goes to jail.
Yeah, but what about when like the courtroom scene where she dresses up and he goes kind of like this or whatever? What do you actually think? Do you think it's that she wanted to feel like Camille, or do you think she actually wanted a connection with him? Or do you think she wanted to make sure that it was him?
No, she definitely knew. She 100% knows. Okay. That's the thing too. In the opening, when you brought the tear, we have to remember she's seen the video. She knows he's guilty.
Okay.
In that opening, she already knows everything. She just wants to get that video. But and I'm sorry to again harken back to the opening. I don't know. Like, I don't have the, like, what is going on in that scene fully. Because it's either she wants to feel like Camille and look what she must have felt when he looked in her eyes and have that moment. Because that is the one difference. Because he never looks at the crowd. He's always looking forward at the ground. Or when they're talking about the Tor networks, I notice he kind of leans in and is interested a bit. But otherwise, he's completely isolated in his glass cage. And that is the moment he finally looks. But so is it because she wants to feel that? I think that's pretty strong. But there's also like, then why does he give the sad face of her going? Is he taunting her back? Or does he believe it is like Clementine, where it's like, that's one of my groupies and now she's leaving? Is that what he's thinking? And then two, why does she have like a smirk on her face as she's getting dragged out? Is she taunting him? Is she intentionally trying to this was a new thought I had last night. Is she trying to be like, I get to live, like I'm in her skin, I'm the 13-year-old girl, but I get to live and I'm gonna go fuck up your life and you're gonna stay there? Like, is it a taunt back at him? Like, I genuinely don't know.
I feel
for my
like
first 5 watches, I was like, she wants to feel what it was like for him to look at her, like, because she watched it on camera. Well, not Camille, but she watched the other 2 videos and was like, those girls experienced death at the hands of this man and had to look him in the eyes and all that stuff. And now this was her one way to ensure that that would happen. But it definitely feels, on this last watch, it felt definitely like there was some weird taunting thing. Or was she doing it for his birthday and thought he would like that? Like, again, that is possible because she waits until it's his birthday to do it.
I feel like I'm sorry to say this. I mean, maybe not sorry, but like, I don't know if this is weird, but I do think that it's actually romantic, meant to be in her head. It could reminds me of like Hannibal Lecter and like, wasn't there in one of the movies where he had like someone who really admired him, like a fan fan groupie or whatever, where it's like, it's almost like they want this person to consume them in some way, because they're so enamored and like they feel it's almost parasocial. I don't know, maybe like where you feel like you're in a relationship with a person that doesn't even know you exist. And then the acknowledgement that you exist is like quite powerful if you feel that way.
I definitely think that's possible. The only thing I would say as a maybe counter to that is every time she something I noticed, every time Clem is talking to her about how she's like in love with him and like, oh, his eyes, and there's no way he'd do it. Like, Kellyanne never responds. She never says like, no, that's not how I feel. But she also never says like, yes, I agree. She literally just doesn't answer, and Clem just keeps going. So I do feel like she does not feel the same way Clem does. So I don't think it can just be like a romantic infatuation.
Yeah, but maybe she thinks that it's completely superior, and that's like kid stuff. I see it as like your enamoring and like your affection for him is not even close to what I feel, and so I'm not even going to like demean myself and address it. Like, I'm way up here with this thing. Like, I understand him. I see him. Sort of.
I think that's possible and supportable, because I think at the end of the day, every single thing is like a challenge for her to understand and know. Like, I will understand him. I will understand Camille. I will understand the mother. I will understand Clem. I will understand the truth. I will understand justice. I will be the one to understand. So I guess it would support then, like, yeah, she's connecting to the killer in that moment. She kind of is like the personification of every aspect of, this is a weird thing to say, like a true crime scenario. She is the killer. She is the victim. She is us watching. She is those investigating. She is those grieving. She is those that have a passing glance into it. Like, she in one person, like, represents like every side of a murder case, I guess.
I also think that in the way that she sort of is the embodiment of all those things, she's also quite, what I like most about the film is that she is particular. She does have idiosyncrasies. Like watching her exercise. When I was watching it the first time, I thought, like, what the heck are we doing with this? But then this time I was like, this is great because what people do, like, it's kind of like dancing, okay? Like how someone dances or how someone kisses or how someone works out. Those are actually very personal things.
Yeah.
And they're very individual. And so like the little, I don't know if it was Japanese, but the little video that she picks that she dances to, I just thought this is adding like we have these concrete preferences about her. And I think that is good so that she isn't just like this faceless, entity.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Right. She's a human. She is a full-bodied human.
Yes.
Even if she represents these ideas.
Exactly. Yeah. And I appreciate those little details, like even when they're eating pizza on the floor. But I mean, because Juliet is so gorgeous and so magnetic, it's almost like I could watch her do anything and I kind of just want to know how she would do anything. And so agree. That is really the masterful stroke.
That's what I meant earlier in the meta text of it. Like we're leaning into her, like everyone else is leaning into the case. Like at the end of the day, all we have in this is to like, I want to know more. Like what is going on inside her head?
But what do you think it is about her? What is it? Because all of us have this reaction to her.
I mean, it's societal. Because we want to project and empathize with what we see through a screen. It is how our minds are trained. Okay. And so when you have, and then why it works so well is it toes the line perfectly. This is just like a compliment of writing and acting. Like, just enough that she feels real and human and whatever. And you don't know plenty to make you have to wonder. And if you're not engaging and asking questions and wanting to know, then I get why you had the experience you did the first time. Like if you're not sitting there constantly being like
enthralled,
what, why, how, asking questions, then like, yeah, I can see this being a boring nothing movie. It all revolves around and it's through both it's what you just said, the specificity that is there, and then everything that is left unanswered, but feels like there simply must be an answer.
But there's also a beauty aspect though, Frank, because like I kept thinking of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and the way that Lisbeth Salamander is presented is rough. Like she's got tattoos, piercings. She's not, Rooney Mara's beautiful, but not in that film intentionally. She's really, really, we can
agree to disagree there, but
do you know what I mean though? In this classical way, let's say in the Red Room's classical beauty way. So I'm just saying there's this entrance into her that is different than Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, where you are kind of lulled, almost like she's like a siren song. You know what I mean?
Sure. Well, let's talk. I mean, we've been talking about obsession a lot. Is it not? I mean, I know no other way to say this. Is it not hard to be a pretty woman in this world? Like to just be pretty, like people
and just exist.
People are going to treat you differently. Like no one is going to be normal towards you, and like everyone's projection onto you is even greater than like a quote unquote average looking person. Like the more heightened your looks are, the more people are going to want to look at you to then. And when we do that, as we know, through screens and everything else, like when we're looking at it's Silence of the Lambs, we look and we covet and we want to put ourselves outward. I mean, that is the other thing. Everyone in this movie is projecting onto the situation and moving outward. But like Kellyanne isn't, in a very strange way. She's is
absorbent.
Not projecting.
No, she takes in, but it's because she doesn't have to though, Frank. Like there's this like effortlessness, this casual elegance that she possesses, and it makes her even more attractive, I think. The fact that she is not using it to seduce. Like, she just is.
But I mean, clearly this is a person who has chosen along the way. Because, like, again, when you're that pretty, you kind of have two lanes. You can be like, oh, I'm nice to everyone and whatever, or it's like, I'm gonna be closed off and like, fuck you, like, leave me alone.
I understand.
And
yeah.
like clearly
a cat.
is a person.
She's like a cat.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. And I think that is like a true characteristic and lived in experience that, again, makes her feel human. Like, and yeah, there's this confident person that's like, I know what I want and I know what I care about and I'm just going to do it. Why would I waste time caring what other people think? And it is interesting how much she lets Clem into her world. But again, I think it's a challenge because Clem brings up, like, are you going to get something for his birthday? And Kellyanne says, you think you're still going to be here in 3 weeks? And it's because before the trial, they know in the third week on the 12th day is when they're going to watch the murder videos. They say that when the news reporters coming in, they're like, today's the day, we knew it was coming, blah, blah, blah. So Kellyanne knows, she's already seen the videos. She's like, in 3 weeks, this girl's going to see the videos and she's going to leave. So I think like Kellyanne is like, I'm going to set this girl straight, whether the court or the court will, or I will, it doesn't matter. So she's almost just like taking her in to make sure she, and she almost is like trying to offer alternatives in a weird way of like, when I feel stressed, I go and play racquetball. Like, let's go play racquetball. She's like, don't sleep on the street. Come sleep here and like talk to me. Like, I'll talk to you. I don't know. Like,
but this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is what is so appealing about, I'm sorry, but Moneyball. Like, where you find someone where you're literally trying to bring them into your world that's so intense and you're so alone in it. And if you can find someone who's obsessed with the same thing that you are and can get on your track, like your vision, and then if they can help you, like actually, so like with Moneyball, Jonah Hill actually majorly helps him. In this instance, she just is longing for it, but Clementine can't because she isn't a purist. I think with Kellyanne, the main thing here is her purity, like, of willing one thing. Kierkegaard, the purity of heart is to will one thing. She is so pure in like, and she wants someone who is just as convicted and just as like go big or go home, and she can't find that.
And I think that's why at the end of the day, this is like a really sad movie about sad, lonely people. Like she is like a tragic, sad figure with this lonely existence and is so deep in isolation. Like, this is how it starts to manifest. But like, at the same time, is this the happiness, the peak of happiness she could ever feel? Is this destiny to be the highlight of her existence? She literally just like walks off into the darkness, and that's that. She has no money. She has no career. She has nobody. She's like,
it's very much like the end of The Social Network to me.
How so?
Because he's clicking refresh.
Oh, waiting for the friend request.
And he's done all this stuff, and he has $1 billion, and he just won the thing, and he just keeps clicking, and he's completely alone.
Yeah.
And it's like, to what end were these things? At what cost? That's what I.
But I guess they're almost the opposite though, because you could still, again, as fucked up as it is, like, did she reach transcendence? Is she like at the next plane of her existence, or is she gonna die happily now? Like, is she the Lady of Shalott? Did she just get into the boat? And now she's going to ride to Camelot. But then die in the process because she's cursed. Die in a vision of happiness in her own mind.
In a blaze of glory.
Because she finally got to leave the tower and see the world. Is that a tragic ending? Because the curse is I can never experience the world. She gets in the boat and she gets to at least experience it for a little. Like, that's what we personally get to assign value to how we define what is good and bad about our lives at the end of the day. So like,
but this is like the question that like Tristan and Jeff asked me about Vertigo, because I think the end of Vertigo is very, very good, and they think it sucks. And like I thought it was like, so to go back to what Tyler said, mentioning it, it's the same. It's the same thing where it's like, how do you interpret what is going on. I feel like it's the best ending for Scotty possible, and they just thought it was an awful ending for him.
What do you mean? I need you to elaborate. What are you talking about? This is like, that's like the horror of you can't snap out of your own reality and you just had another person die because
No. He's freed. As soon as she kills herself, he's completely free.
Oh, good. I'm glad it just took another woman dying.
That's right, because his obsession could not end until it was eliminated. So I think it's extremely good for him. Now he can actually move on. If he hadn't met, what's her name? Not Madeline. What was the other girl's name? Doggone it. I should know this.
Midge.
Midge. No, not Midge. Midge is the one that's in love with him. The one, Kim Novak with the red hair.
I don't care. I don't like Vertigo.
I hate Vertigo, but I don't hate it. I don't like it, though. The point is that...
That's a deranged take, Amy. I'm sorry.
I'm so used to having deranged takes. I don't mean to. But the point is like, it's a bit of in the eye of the beholder. Okay?
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to say. Is that
and I do agree
you could
with
interpret the events as saying like she's free and she reached transcendence and she had this purpose and she fulfilled it and now she can move on. Or you could say that it didn't do anything and she will want more. Like the hunger is still there.
I don't believe it's that. That doesn't feel like where it ends.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
She like, again, inadvertently kind of becomes like an avenging angel in a like really weird way. Like, again, I don't think vigilante justice was her purpose, but like she inevitably enacts it. And so like when, again, her just walking off into the darkness, it just feels like she's going to transcend into heaven or hell. And it doesn't matter because in the ending is kind of weird where it's like her computer screen, but she's not there.
And then it just disintegrates.
Yeah, it dissolves into pixels. Like there's something, again, mythical, mystic about it in a weird way. She is a modern myth, Tyler. Good call. Also, I read somewhere that, I don't know why this just popped in my head, but I read somewhere, we've been all over the place.
It's okay. It always is.
Yeah. Gwenvere, the image is of the girl who inspired Alice in Wonderland, I guess. And also who Carol like sexually abused as a child, to just add in a layer of like what's going on in the story and like how she is manifesting, which I think would lead to like, okay, so she sees herself again as the Lady of Shalott and she views her world as Alice in Wonderland to some degree and is also maybe aware of like this abuse and hurt happening to children. Like, I think it is supported in what your initial statement was, despite me also being like, but here's a bunch of other stuff.
The only reason I don't like bringing it up is because I feel like every movie now is about trauma and it's exhausting because it kind of minimizes.
Listen, therapy is the best thing in the world for society. It is not the best thing for narrative films.
Exactly. And that's becoming an obsession, is having so much therapy speak Backrooms was just awful in this way, where it just made me want to puke. But I'm just saying, like, it makes it so that when I want to talk about it in a real way for a good film, it feels like I'm being trite.
No, but it's true. You brought it. It is. There's definitely has to be something. Well, it's one of two things, right? She either has to have some wound or she's just a sociopath, plain and simple. But I don't think it's that. That's too neat. That's too neat to just put Kellyanne in a box and like remove the humanity that is contradictory inside her. I mean, there's one thing I learned year after year. We just like humans we are walking contradictions 24/7. Like we can't fully align ourselves to be ourselves. And like Kellyanne is like closer than maybe most of us in a disturbing way, but like even she has contradictions. She lives like a machine, like, and tries to, like, the whole movie, but then at the end, the only reason she even gets to the video is because she acts emotional and she goes all in the poker.
Right.
And she throws away everything. She has to become human in order to succeed in her quest.
Right.
Which is a very interesting thing because it seems like she's trying to avoid feeling human for quite a long time. Even though but that's not true because she's so steeped in wanting to feel.
Yes.
Man, yeah, this movie's
I think
crazy.
she's constantly wanting to feel. I don't think she's anti at all. I think it's just like okay, if we could relate you to Kellyanne.
Easy.
What is coming to my mind is that what you said about grieving and watching things to make yourself feel something that is very simpatico.
Yeah.
With her.
Absolutely.
And that comes from, obviously, it does not come from numbing and like the addiction part where it's like suppression, repression. I don't want to feel anything. Get me out of here. Escape. This is literally diving into so that you can maximum experience emotions that are uncomfortable on purpose by choice. You know, so that is to me the opposite of like an unhealthy.
Well, yes
reaction.
and no, because then also sometimes I won't want to do that by like talking to a person. Like if somebody in my family has passed, like I might not want to talk to my family about it, and I would instead do this for myself. But, you know, grief is to the
Weird.
individual, and everyone experiences it differently. And so I guess you're right. Okay, I'll give myself credit there.
You should. And also I want to say, before we get to your 3 films, I want to say that the director of this film
We're
was
already there.
Yes, was 37 years old, Frank.
Okay.
And so a young guy, and he was like a competitive swimmer. I looked him up.
Yeah, I still have not watched either of his other films.
Yeah, and we really should.
I've seen this one 6 times. I should probably
really
give
should.
another a try.
I had a note to tell you particularly because you're a filmmaker. But I don't know if I can find it. He was 37. I think they filmed it in like 25 days in Quebec, and they built the courtroom from scratch. I read a really, really good interview with him. I shared some of it with you where like his influences were Haneke and Fincher, and that he wanted us to look at Kellyanne in the way that she looks at the killer. There's like a level of unknowability there. But he seems like a really interesting guy.
When I am this obsessed with a movie, it's 50-50. Either I'm never going to look anything up about it, or I'm going to read every single possible thing and watch every possible video. Yeah. This is one that I've like avoided everything because I feel like the experience is in the watching and wrestling with it within yourself. Like it is tailor-made to be like reflecting with the screen, like, and it forces you to, it is like a Rorschach test in a weird way of like, what do you see? What does it make you feel? What do you think about Kellyanne and what's going on?
Well, and like I was chatting with my friend Andrew about this yesterday, and one thing that he said I wrote down was that he felt like the director gave the audience what they want, but not what they already know they want. So there's also that, like when you said that's the kind of test, it's like the best movies give you what you didn't know you wanted. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I felt the first time watching this. I remember so distinctly, like trying to get ahead of the movie and being like, oh, is it going to be this? Is it going to be that? Is she going to kill someone? Is she going to get killed? What's going to happen? And it's like, no. This movie has way better plans for me than I could have ever imagined. I mean, it's the moment in the courtroom when he finally looks at her and the scream starts.
And the screams. Oh my gosh. The sound design is just
chills through my whole body every single time I watch it. And I think it's genuinely one of the most like, it's like Challengers with the ball to the racket, where it's like your whole movie was really building to this moment working. And I can't believe you kind of did it. That like made the impact actually hit. And it's like, I know there's still like a half hour and a lot of crazy stuff still happens after that moment, but like, it really is like the moment where it's like, I don't even know how I got here. I can't even believe I'm here right now.
Yeah, those are great. I wish we could make like a montage of like those kind of peak, you know, because I know exactly what you're talking about when you witness it in movies and you're just like completely blown away. and it's like a marvel as to how it was all put together, and it's so perfect. Yeah, that is definitely that moment in this film. I think, didn't we talk about favorite scenes when we did our end of the year, and that was one of them? Yes. I think we did. Yeah.
Yes, it was definitely, if not my scene of the year, it was number 2 for sure. That and Challengers, just
right.
They were pretty much.
I forgot they were the same year.
Most categories was either
yeah. Okay, Frank. What are your 3?
Anything else? No. God, I feel like we didn't say anything and just rambled about
we
a bunch
said a
of
ton
random
of stuff.
Shit. Okay.
I promise. It'll always feel this way.
I know. Well, here's the thing about, you said I have to have 3. I'm going to throw out a couple things. I have my 3 like official ones, but things kept coming up that I now feel like I earned an extra.
All right, go for it.
I'm going to start just real fast with the obvious asides. As you mentioned, the Henneke and Fincher. Those are the most obvious things in the world. You brought up funny games. I definitely thought of like Cachet and Benny's Video. Those feel very in tune. And for Fincher, it's obviously Dragon Tattoo. Like, of course.
And The Killer a little bit.
I definitely see that too. Yeah. And
Social
I
Network.
also wrote down Rear Window in the Conversation as like, those feel more obvious, relatable, like are definitely about paranoia and getting invested through watching, through listening, whatever. So like those all feel in the obvious zone.
Okay.
The first one I had written down was Exotica. So when you brought that up an hour ago, I was like, man, what the heck?
I can't not bring up Exotica with you. It's impossible. We always come around to it. Always.
But I genuinely think it's a good pairing.
I do too.
My main reasons are how the information unfurls, how it like slowly is giving you all the information. And then even by the end, it becomes a different movie the second time you watch it. Like, oh, now that I know everything, like I literally will watch every movement, every action, every choice with a new lens now that I have the full picture. And I think they have the same fundamental question, not to spoil Exotica, and I'm not going to, but like you get pretty concretely into the mind of like 4 characters and truly knowing everything.
Right.
But the lingering thing of Exotica is about Christina and is like, well, what did she get out of this? What is her deal? What is that root pain? What is going on with her? You are still left with questions about her in particular. And I think that is very similar to Red Rooms.
Agreed.
Where everyone else has like pretty conclusive endings. But at the end of the day, we're still left wondering what's going on with Kellyanne. And you brought up like the ritualistic.
Yes. Francis.
Everything in that way.
Like the role playing ritual, play acting. Like, you know, we keep going back to this circumstance to feel something because of some pain that we're trying. Yes.
So that was the first one I thought of. Dang it, Amy, you spoiled it.
Yes.
So I'm going to give a 4th one at the end.
Okay.
The second one I thought of was The Vanishing. In which case, I think she is both plot lines smashed into one. Because The Vanishing, you have seen. I know.
Of course.
The girl. Do I talk about it right now just real fast? A guy and a girl are on a vacation. The girl goes missing. The guy becomes obsessed with trying to find out what happened to her. And then there's a second plot where a quote unquote normal family man is a sociopath who is the one who did something to her. And we follow him in his planning to that. And then they intersect.
Yes.
She is kind of both of those in one. She is both the like, I have a master plan and I'm going to execute it. And also like, I'm so obsessed, I need to know. And it also leads to a conclusion that is pretty knockout. Like, I guess I should have seen this coming, but I also never could have imagined. And my God, I'm going to think about this forever.
Yeah,
I've seen The Vanishing one time
and
it's burned in my brain. Yeah.
And I remember the final shot actually, and I haven't seen it in years.
Me either.
Yeah.
And I think they both toe that line of like, it's not horror, but it's sure not. They definitely are both pretty like horrific movies.
Also, Frank, didn't we at some point okay, like in the group chat, didn't we at some point make like the need to know thing? We talked about this.
I have
you and I are obsessed with need to know.
Yes, the need to know.
Like,
I have a list with 20 movies on there, and
I knew it.
The Vanishing is like the second one.
Okay, but there were like qualifications that I can't remember. I think we had like, it wasn't just like a general need to know. It was like what we're talking about right now in this entire episode.
It's the insatiable desire that like at the cost of anything, I will find out the truth.
Okay.
Yeah. And even when it's destructive, it's usually destructive force for good, for better or worse. It will be a destructive force.
But in the like Venn diagram of both of our tastes, this is like
this is it. This is the center where we found it finally.
That is it. I really think so. Yeah. Okay. Continue.
The third one, I'm also pairing. This doesn't count as my fourth, I'm going to say. I'm just going to quickly mention what I think is the more obvious one is After School. I know you hated it. Maybe you should watch it again.
After School, one word.
The Campos movie.
Yeah.
That feels like the obvious one because that is also heavily Haneke inspired and has a similar vibe. The less obvious side that I think is in a similar zone, my official third pairing, is We're All Going to the World's Fair.
Which I haven't seen, but I know what it is. Yeah.
I think it toes very similar lines where it's about a young woman who's like super online and starts to distort her reality, and it like isn't a horror movie, but it like kind of is, and to me that movie ends up being just a very sad character study straight up, and I think it's very emotional and it's very sad. But the whole time it's like, what's going on? And it wasn't until the end, and then I rewatched it, that I really loved it and was like, wow, I see the portrait being painted. Okay. And I think it is very similar to Red Rooms in that way. And then the last one I'm going to mention, just because you kind of took Exotica or whatever, and it came up when I said the word Rorschach test. I wrote it down here as Burning. I think there's a similar. Whatever. Watch that again. I just think there's a similar. There is enough specificity that they feel like human beings and real people interacting, but there's also so much that is left off that it forces you to project onto the screen, which
I don't enjoy. That's why I don't like vibe stuff where it's like I have incomplete information and it's up to me to blah 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 blah.
Well, until you rewatch it apparently, and then you can appreciate it.
Everybody has gotten on my case about not liking that one. I think I gave it like 1.5.
Yeah, I think we've definitely fought about it.
We've definitely, yeah.
Which I can understand, but I think you should watch it again.
Wasn't it a Murakami? I love the
I think
author of the. I think it was based on a short story of an author, Murakami, that I love, and I've read a bunch of his books. Or I did in college, but yeah, and I love Steven. I should rewatch it.
Yeah, Steven's like the hottest a person's ever been in that movie.
Honestly, he's even hot in Beef. Like, I loved Beef so much, and it was partly because I could just watch him all day long.
Michigan boy, downriver.
What is he also in? He was also in a movie that was kind of dumb, but I liked it because he was in it.
Mickey 17.
Yes, thank you. I didn't know.
Was that it? He did not. They didn't use him enough in there. That was my biggest critique. Like, how are you going to bring
Pattinson is such a loon. He's such a.
I love him.
He is so, like, every time I see him in a serious role, I'm like, I know what you're like. You're a weirdo.
Yeah.
You are high life.
Oh yeah.
and that other movie you love by Cronenberg. I think it's your number 2.
Yes.
How do I know this? I don't know, Frank.
I love Robbie Patz. Come on. He's the best.
Okay, well, is there any final words that you want to say? I know you have a million and you hate.
I know. We didn't talk about enough somehow. But like, I guess it is all in the questions, and there is no definitive answers, and the joy is in trying to talk about it, and what does it reflect about us? I don't know. Yeah, I just love this movie. I really didn't even need to rewatch it. As
I was about to say, you were like, I could have done everything without. I already know it so well.
I couldn't believe it, actually. It's been over a year, but I did watch it 5 times in like 3 months, and I was. So
if you were gonna like pitch it to the average person, how would you do that? Like, if you wanted to sell it, what would you like kind of highlight or emphasize for as it being an appealing experience?
I really don't even know what. I guess I would talk about what the plot technically is, that there's a murder trial happening.
It's kind of a cyber thriller, like Black Hat, kind of, where we're like following a very interesting, mysterious person who knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I guess I've never had to try. All the people I made watch it, I said, sit down, we're watching this.
That's Frank's
I
MO.
literally said nothing about it.
Well, not that anybody's listening to this still that hasn't seen it, because we told you not to. So it's kind of irrelevant. But at the same time, I do feel I can at least pitch the rewatch part, because I do think that it changes on a rewatch. It was a lot richer. I could see myself in her as well, which I think I was very uncomfortable with the first time, and I didn't want to. Kind of like Obsession, where there's a discomfort in being like, oh my gosh, I identify with kind of a dangerous, scary person, or attributes that I kind of don't like to acknowledge.
Yeah.
So that's what happened.
And I think that is something special that movies can do, because they are human beings enacting stuff out in a safe space that we can then try to, acknowledge and
grapple with
ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree completely. I definitely can see parts of myself in Kellyanne, and I've joked, and am I joking, that I could fix her and we would be friends.
Right.
I would just put on the most depraved horror movies, and I would sit there. I wouldn't even look at her, and I'd say, you play poker on your phone. When you want to watch, you watch. And if you want to talk, I'm here to talk. Otherwise, I won't even look at you. And I would just be there with her. And I think we'd get along great.
I think that should be literally, when I post this, I literally need to be like, I could fix her, Frank Ritz, as the quote for the post.
I wrote that in one of my reviews. I finally understood that feeling for the first time watching Red Rooms. Like,
Frank, you're very special. That says just so much. That's the pitch right there.
Sorry, I'm more evolved than the rest of us, or rest of you.
And humble.
Yeah, nobody's more humble than me. I'm the most humble. I'm the best.
Well, we'll just pretend that this is the Psychoanalyze this intro, because Frank was originally supposed to like usher in all of my series, and then I have way too many. And
because you don't ask me on enough.
That's your fault, Amy. That's my beef. That's your beef. You have a busy life, Frank. Okay, I can't just make everything happen. But I'm so glad that we did this. I'm glad that you chose this one. There were a lot that we could have done, honestly, but it ended up being a lot more kindred spirit territory than I would have thought. And I think maybe you knew that.
Yeah,
more than I did.
I just thought that this is like definitionally, to me, the idea of psychoanalyzing a character. And because I still don't have answers, and that is the richness. Like, I can't say concretely how I feel about Kellyanne, but I sure have a lot of different ideas about her. And that to me is catnip when it comes to movies. Like that's what will bring me back 100 more times before I die. Maybe not 100, but
it is kind of the heart of like psychoanalysis anyway. That like, I mean, there is this sort of recognition that we might not learn anything, or may not solve anything, at least.
Can you ever truly know another? Can you ever truly know yourself? Who's to say?
That's why we like to know things.
Yeah.
So that we can have that, integrative sense.
Put things in a nice, neat box whenever we can.
Whittling the world. What is it? Adaptation. Whittling the world down to a more manageable size. Done with fish.
Can't say it better than Charlie.
I know. I can't. I don't ever know how to end this with you. Thank you, Frank. It's been a blast. And the next time we'll cover PTA, I'm sure.
We better.
We'll have to bring back Provocateur. And thank you all for listening. See you at the movies.